All right, let's just jump right into it. This was supposed to be the pop culture event of the year, right? We had Jake Paul, the YouTuber turned boxer, stepping into the ring with the one and only, the legendary Iron Mike Tyson. I mean, the fight absolutely broke the internet, but maybe not for the reasons everyone thought it would. It left millions of us with this single nagging question. Was what we just watched a real fight, or was it all just a show?
And you know, this one comment from a Reddit user just nails it. It perfectly captures the whole mystery we're going to unpack today. It wasn't rigged because it didn't need to be rigged. So what on earth does that actually mean? How can a fight not need to be rigged? Well, let's find out.
Okay, first things first, we've got to wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this thing. This wasn't just another fight. No. This was billed as Netflix's biggest live sports event ever, a true clash of generations. The hype machine was working overtime, and it was absolutely off the charts. And this really lays it all out, doesn't it? The massive gap between what was promised and what we actually got. On one side, you've got all the hype, the roaring crowds, the fireworks, the epic return of Iron Mike. But the reality for so many people watching at home, it was a totally different story. Servers were crashing left and right. The fight itself was, well, an underwhelming 8-round decision, and you could literally hear the crowd booing. Ouch. So when the dust finally settled, Jake Paul got his hand raised. A comfortable, unanimous decision win, but for a lot of people watching, the whole thing just felt anticlimactic, almost a little hollow, you know? And that feeling of disappointment, it turned into suspicion, like almost instantly. All right, now let's get to the real heart of it, the big debate. This is where it all snowballed into a huge controversy. I mean, the second that final bell rang, social media just exploded. Theories, accusations, you name it, it was everywhere. And this was the question on everyone's mind. Super simple, super direct. Was the fight fixed? It didn't matter if you were a hardcore boxing fan or just a casual viewer. Everyone felt like something was off. And people started pointing to very specific moments to prove their point. And here's where the skepticism really comes from. People were sharing these slow-mo clips all over the place. It looked like Tyson was holding back that legendary power, or the Paul was pulling his punches. There was even this so-called pre-fight script that went viral. And then you have these key moments, right? Like Tyson lands a big shot and then just doesn't follow up. For one of the most ferocious fighters in history, that just felt wrong, completely out of character.
But then you start seeing these more nuanced takes pop up, like this one. This person is saying, hey, maybe the rigging wasn't about picking a winner, maybe it was just about making it boring, making sure the fight went the distance. Think about it. Maybe it was to satisfy a broadcast deal, or maybe just to avoid the really bad look of a 27-year-old badly hurting a 58-year-old icon. So, to really get to the bottom of this, we've got to push past all the speculation and look at the cold, hard facts. The actual data from before and during the fight tells a story that all those online conspiracies seem to be missing.
And let's start with the most obvious, most undeniable fact of all. The elephant in the room, that 31-year age gap. This wasn't just a difference in age, people. This was a massive, generational chasm. I mean, this tale of the tape says it all, doesn't it? On one hand, you've got Jake Paul. He's 27, he's in his prime, he's been fighting recently. Then you look at Mike Tyson, 58 years old. He hadn't fought professionally since 2005. And even more importantly, the guy was battling chronic sciatica. We're talking debilitating nerve pain. And he had a medical emergency from an ulcer just months before the fight. That's a huge... And if you need more proof, just look at the official punch stats. It's night and day. Jake Paul landed 78 total punches. Mike Tyson, just 18. The numbers don't lie, folks. This was a clear-cut story of physical dominance. But here's the thing. All this data, it doesn't necessarily scream criminal fix, right? Instead, it makes you ask a totally different question. What kind of fight were we actually watching here? And this is where the context is absolutely everything. Let's talk about what an exhibition fight actually is. It's a match meant to demonstrate skill, mostly for entertainment. It's not a fight to the death, title on the line kind of thing. The whole point is just different. And you know what? These kinds of spectacles are nothing new. Seriously, Muhammad Ali was doing them back in the 70s. Mike Tyson himself fought in one back in 2006. And just look at the last few years. Floyd Mayweather fought a kickboxer. He fought Logan Paul. This is a long-standing tradition in boxing. So, when you start looking at it as entertainment first, suddenly the fighter's actions make a lot more sense. Why would Paul show mercy instead of going for a brutal KO? Well, it protects a legend's reputation, and his own. And for Tyson, he gets to put on a show, get one last giant payday, and not risk a serious, life-altering injury. It's not a war, it's a performance.
Okay, so let's put all the pieces together. Let's land this plane. Was the fight rigged, or was there something else entirely going on here?
When you really break it down logically, the picture becomes pretty clear. Step 1, this fight was a massive mismatch from the very beginning because of age and health. That's just a fact. Step 2, the crazy lopsided stats just prove that physical reality. Step 3, the whole event, from the rules to how the fighters acted, looked way more like an exhibition than a real competitive fight. Which leads to our conclusion, the outcome was predictable. Not because of some shady script, but because of all these obvious factors that were right there in front of us the whole time.
And that brings us full circle right back to where we started. That Reddit comment just sums it up perfectly. It didn't need a script. The outcome was already written by the circumstances. The real rigging, if you want to call it that, was just putting a 27-year-old in the ring with a 58-year-old and pretending it was a legitimate professional fight.
So in the end, this whole Paul Tyson thing leaves us with a much, much bigger question to chew on. As that line between real athletic competition and pure entertainment gets blurrier and blurrier, what does that mean for the future of real sports? Is the spectacle now more important than the substance? And honestly, that's the real debate this fight sparked.